Welcome back to PCA Headquarters Garage. Today we're here with Greg Smith with Dents, and we're going to work on Chris Robles' 2006 Cayman S. Chris described to us a situation where he got a little bit of damage on the left front fender. So Greg here with these pretty unique looking tools is going to show us how paintless dent repair can be done on a vehicle and save it from, I guess, having to be completely resprayed or having a complete fender repainted to match. So tell us a little bit about the tools and tell us a little bit about how you're going to approach this dent.
On a fender, you have to get up inside the liner. So in this case, we have to jack the car up slightly, take down the liner, and then use these tools. Basically, I'm going to use this tool a lot and probably this tool a lot for this repair and possibly this one. And the reason why this tool is necessary is because it's kind of a larger dent, and I'm going to be pushing with the rubber tip on it as well so that you don't damage the metal and make what we call push-outs in this industry. So, and then raising the car up slightly is going to give me my leverage that I need to, using maybe the front tire as well. So it's based on leverage, it's based on tools, and it's based on access and how hard you push and maneuver the tools.
Well, one of the goals of this video is to educate PCA members on not only the process of how we're going to attack the dent, but then also how to choose someone to work on your car. You've been in this business for a while. Actually, I reached out to some local PCA members as well as a local shop here, and you came highly recommended, and that's how I started. But as a professional, what words of advice or maybe a checklist of items would you tell our members that you need to make sure you consider before choosing someone to work on your car?
Well, definitely call around, definitely get referrals if you can. If you know where the high-end body shops that deal with these types of cars, that's probably the best place to go, because those guys who own those shops are gonna be using a qualified paintless dent repair guy. Guys that have been in the business for a while, guys that aren't afraid to work on these types of cars as well, because it is a little intimidating to pull up to a car such as a Porsche or Mercedes, BMW, the high-end cars, and not to be afraid to work on it.
Okay, so we're going to watch you use these magic wands. We've got a lighting system over there that we're going to show our members, and we're going to set up right next to the dent and do some time-lapse photography, so that way you can see how Greg does his magic.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right. After the accident, I had to think about all of my options. I could either do nothing with it because it appears to be a pretty mild dent. Of course, it is a Porsche, and it's my baby, and I want to make sure it's perfect like it was before it got dented. So after that, my other two options are either have the whole panel replaced and repainted, which I didn't want to do because I think that affects value a little bit more than if you can try to accomplish the same goal by doing a method without having to repaint and replace the panel. So that's why we're here today. I chose this method first to see what happens, and hopefully the repair will be satisfactory. And if I decide to sell the car later in the future, the new prospective buyer can see the efforts that were gone to, as well as the previous damage, the degree of damage before the repair was made. But the main thing is that I think I'm going to be happy about is hopefully this panel will be retained, preserved, and as well as the original paint. So as of right now, there aren't any cracks in the finish. Clear coat wasn't badly damaged, and I think after this paintless dent repair, I'm going to try to polish everything out and make it look like new again. So hopefully that'll be the end result.
Okay, one of the first things you have to do for especially a Porsche, because it's just so low to the ground, you have to jack the car up. So I've brought my jack here to jack the car up, and you want to make sure you jack the car up in the proper location so you don't bend anything underneath the car. So they do have little pads and stands that you can jack the car up with. So that's the first step. Second step is to remove or drop the fender liner so that I can gain access to the metal itself, because these tools, you want to get to the metal. And then the third step is you want to line up your light, which provides me with a grid pattern, which is what I'm using to take the dent out with. And from there, that's when I start working on the car. Okay, one of the things I look for is I look for all the high spots where the metal is protruding out. It may be slightly, but it is. And what's going on is what we call an eyebrow. This has an eyebrow where you have to release the pressure of the eyebrow so the metal moves out a lot easier. And also what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the creases that are in here. This dent goes from here, 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 and slightly dented here and down into the body line a little bit too. So there's quite a bit of damage to this fender. And so once I knock the eyebrows down and release the pressure of the metal, then I'm going to start removing the dent. I'm about 70% done with the larger dent that was here. I'm going to work on the creases now and then come back to this dent back here and then straighten up the whole dent after that. So finish the rest of the dent. All right, just a little update on the dent. Progress of the dent. The majority of the dent this way is pretty much done. I'm still working on this crease here, and then once I finish the crease, then I'm gonna, or once I finish all the repairs, what I'm gonna do is wet sand and buff the area and get rid of all these little scuff marks. They appear like the paint's missing, but most often this stuff will wet sand and buff out with a high grade sandpaper, like a 2500 grit sandpaper or 3000 grit sandpaper. And once I wet sand it and then polish it back up, a lot of those scuff marks, or most of them, should go away. After I'm finished with the dent, what I'm doing now is after I wet sand it, I've got a lot of the stuff that paint transfer from whatever was hit, the fender was hit by, stayed on top of the clear coat. So what I did is I wet sanded to get a lot of that stuff off, and it should all compound out and be shiny and look new again. So I'm going to apply rubbing compound once I finish wet sanding it like I just did, and should all be shiny and pretty again. Okay, finished the repair. When I approached this job, I looked at it overall, how much damage was to the panel, and I kind of assessed it at being probably 85 to 90% better than what it was, because there were such damages to the fender. It had the big dent here, smaller dent here, some dents into the body line, as well as the two creases. There was a lot wrong with this particular panel. On a high end, this would be considered I would say an expert dent repair for a paintless dent repair technician. So a lot of guys wouldn't even repair this because it took so much time. So we're about 3 hours into the repair, give or take a half an hour or so, and also wet sand and buff everything. So I would say I'm happy with this. I'm saying it turned out probably 85 to 90% like I anticipated. Been doing this a lot of years, so I kind of have an idea how it's going to turn out. As opposed to the cost. I would charge anywhere between $200 to $250 for this repair. Taking this to a body shop, you're looking at the same thing costing anywhere between $400 and $600. Also, to repaint and repair this whole panel, then you have the clear rod to repair as well. You're talking about probably thousands of dollars to repair this and paint it, and then you've got the inconvenience of the car being in the shop for anywhere between a week to 2 weeks, and then you have that as well. So overall, I'm happy with the repair. Like I said, it was a high-end dent repair, and you should really have an experienced technician fix a dent like this.
All right, Chris. Man, Greg really worked his behind off for 3 hours to get this fender straight. So what do you think?
I'm absolutely amazed by this. I originally thought that the panel was going to have to be replaced, and of course, as detail oriented as I am with my car and wanting to preserve the value as much, I was considering ordering a new fender from Germany, getting a body shop with the best reputation in the Maryland area to repaint the panel off the car and then reattach it and try to blend it to match the rest of the paint. Once again, one of the problems with that would be that the car has 62,000 miles on it. And there's a little bit of natural paint fade with age, and it would be really hard to match that. So there's another advantage to doing it this way. I'm amazed. To me, it looks 100%.
Yeah, it really does look. I mean, I would bet 99% of the people, if you were telling them to walk by this car or look at the fender, they would have never known that there was such a major dent on the fender. So kudos to Greg for doing a great job, and hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Now you're armed with a little bit more education so that if you have an issue such as this, or maybe even an issue that's maybe minor, you'll know how to choose the right technician to work on your car.